the weed.
Alright, what going on, bro? Welcome back to another installment of edutainment. Hopefully you're doing more and saying less. Now, when it comes to the topic of weed legalization, you and I are pretty much aware that the reason why it's taken so long and why it's not been more legalized is the fact that you can't really make money off of it, per se. The government, the margin in terms of like making money is a lot slimmer and lower, and the barrier for entry is a lot lower, right? You can make your own, like have your own like weed supply in your own like backyard if you really wanted to. You need to go to a company and have prescription XYZ every single time. It's not there. That's why you see all these opioid companies and have all these like pharmaceutical companies, they lobby the governments and all these politicians to make laws that prevent the legalization of weed. If you are smoking weed and you're getting all these benefits from it, you're not gonna need or to have the desire to take pills, right? And even the ability to make those pills is a lot steeper for any regular person. But any regular person, if they really wanted to, could find a way to start growing their own like marijuana or cannabis plants, right? In all honesty, weed is one of those like substances that has, you can't die. You obviously you can become addicted to weed, but when you try and quit it and recover from it, essentially your use of it, your abuse of it, you're not gonna die. People die from opioids and abuse of pills all the time. The most you'll get from weed withdrawal is just inconvenience. You'll get a little bit of insomnia, lack of appetite. It'll be inconvenience, but you're not gonna die because you decide to quit weed, like you will when you decide to quit alcohol or pills and stuff like that, right? But we're gonna react to this real quick and give my take on it.
You have people who are so defiant. Remember when we were on All to Smoke together, Matt, me, you, and Steven. Steven agreed with me when I was talking about how cats costing themselves money. He's like, you're absolutely right, Stephen A. There's no excuse for cats getting themselves caught out there where you can't discipline yourself enough where you're going to end up costing yourself money. That is my issue. I'm not saying, I'm not opposed to what you're talking about, Matt. I'm certainly not opposed to the points that Max make because I think they're both legitimate. What I'm saying is, does it not concern y'all that you got cats out there? We had a guy that was on the Cowboys that literally went online and announced his retirement from the National Football League because I ain't giving up this weed. I mean, come on now. I mean, that's a problem.
But what about the guys like myself who take one Vicodin and one Norco and feel like I'm going to throw up or I can't move around because my stomach hurts so much? Like the effects from opioids, just like marijuana hits everyone differently, opioids hit everyone differently either. So they're pumping us full of anything to get us back on that court, field, or diamond.
I agree.
Not knowing the long-term effects and how it makes us feel. So I was someone who used it because I felt like I needed it. The only time I missed games was when I was suspended. I played through every injury, any kind of drama off the court. It was always something that allowed me to focus, it allowed me to sleep.
But that's need, Matt. That's not recreational. You just said need.
Can I jump in if you don't mind?
Recreational, right?
I disagree with KD in the sense he said it can only help. But like, you know, I know you're talking, you're in the middle of a conversation, sometimes you're not literal about everything you say. But of course you can, or it can also hurt. Anything that you do in excess can hurt. And Stephen A., if you take an enormous population, you will find some people who abuse just about everything, including weed, for whatever reason.
That's why I always say too much of any good thing is good for nothing. It's the people who abuse the substances that typically make them bad. And just in general, weed, for the most part, right? If you use it, let's say maybe once or twice a week, max, right? You'll get a lot of the health benefits and just the feeling good. When you start making your use of it almost daily or majority of the week you're high, that's when you may not necessarily have any issues in terms of like your health, but it does affect your ability or desire to make more money, like to function properly at work and to, you know, get a side hustle that can increase your income sources and pay some debt and stuff like that. So if you can limit your use of weed to maybe once or twice a week max, you will get a lot of the benefits and still be able to function and show up in other areas of life. One of the quick hacks to smoke less weed in general is to buy less weed on your visits or whenever you're talking to a dealer, whatever it is. Buy less weed at a time, because if you have extra weed lying around at home, more than likely you will smoke it. No cap, right? So don't have extra weed lying around. Whenever you intend to smoke, just smoke enough for that day. I know it's gonna cost you a little bit more because you're not buying it in bulk, but it'll make it more inconvenient for you to just you know, because the weed is not present. You have to call a dealer, go to the dispensary or whatever. It's more roadblocks to get to that session. And moreover, right, if you don't want to get sedated by the high, you want to go towards more of the CBD strains like Harley Sue, Harley TSU, and less of the THC aspects of weed. But yeah.
So if you want to talk about people with problems, yes, there are people who have problems using too much cannabis. We agree. Does that inform your entire policy? No. Because there are many more people with problems with alcohol, which is a more dangerous drug, which is sanctioned. So my point is, weed, for some reason, because of the ongoing demonization, which is not based in any reality really, compared to alcohol, if that's the standard. People like Matt have to talk about the medicinal benefits. It's great that there are medicinal benefits, but that shouldn't be the reason that it's not prohibited.
But we're not disagreeing there. All three of us are on the same page with that. What I'm challenging y'all about is this. We can sit on national television and go at this till the cows come home. We can point the finger at the league about opioids, about alcohol, about their flagrant hypocrisies on a plethora of issues. We get all of that. But at the end of the day, if there is a structure in place and you are devoid of the discipline necessary to discipline yourself so you don't cost yourself the money that you have worked so hard to earn, and it's all because from a recreational perspective.
What are you talking about here? This is what you want to do.
I'm saying you got to speak to that. You got to speak to that.
So you want to make the conversation
addicts walking around here.
So you want to make the conversation about the margins of the enormous population of users. You want to talk about only the marginal few who've run into problems butting up against the rules of the NBA. Like, who are those people? That's not really what we're talking about.
Let me challenge the three of you. Let me challenge the three of you because I want to challenge the three of you.
It's not the marginal few.
Who've butted up against NBA rules and have been suspended.
No, I'm saying the league itself. They're sitting there, they're identifying dudes with the recreational rules. You know, if you talk to Matt and you listen to Matt, you enlighten me about how you talked to former Commissioner David Stern, God rest his soul, and even he had a change of his thinking or whatever. Al Harrington and what he's been doing in regards to all that stuff in terms of bringing attention to this stuff. Nobody's dismissing any of that. At the end of the day, the Joe Public out there, the paying customer who patronizes their brand, which ultimately facilitates them making the money that they want to make. If they're going to view the public if they're going to view these athletes that way, it's a reason for the league to be concerned about it because they're trying to get those folks money. That's the reason for it.
You know, this is why I've never really decided to dabble in any type of substances, right? I don't smoke weed. I've never smoked weed, but I just feel like weed is a topic that gets brushed over, right? People because it's so harmless, and it is, people tend to abuse it and become dependent on it. So, like, I've never smoked weed, never drank alcohol, stuff like that. So I just never wanted the idea or the possibility of losing myself, right? And think about it. Now you have, let's say you're making a decent amount of money, right? You're on your own. Whether in the NBA, none of us can really relate to an NBA player. But let's say you're making a decent amount of income. It's just you're in your bachelor pad or whatever, right? And you would smoke weed, no, right? But now you have more money to use, and usually this is where Parkinson's law comes into place. When you have more time, or I guess in this case more money to use things on, you tend to fill up the extra leftover income, right? So maybe you were only smoking once or twice a week, or even less than that, but now you have more money. You know those ones where you don't smoke, or you take a involuntary tolerance break from weed because you don't have the money for it. So let's say now you have the money, you constantly can buy as much weed as you want. And this is where you start abusing it, and you start like becomes a part of your life, quote unquote, right? And you become dependent on it. So if you can limit your use really to once or twice a week, you will find yourself still being able to function at work, pick up a side hustle if need be, and still show up in like your health wise, going to the gym. Because when you do use it too much, it can mess up with your motivation because it makes you calm, right? You're chill. Like, it's almost like life is good and there's no need for you to do more or achieve more. This is why I feel like a lot of NBA players, right? They have such high expectations for them, high lottery pick, but then, you know, you get all this attention from females, you have more money to use on your own stuff, and now it just really exposes your true nature as a person, exposes who you really are, right? So, yeah.
Hey, Stephen, let me ask you a question. If you're a GM, owner, president, head coach, and your player had to do one of these, because most players all have a vice, whether it's as simple as wine, hard alcohol, pills, cigarettes,
weed.
cocaine, what would it be?
It would be weed.
Okay,
it would be
that's
weed.
my whole
Absolutely.
my whole point. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying the policies are outdated and they need to change. At this point,
I
people
agree.
understand the marathon and the grind of a season. 82 games, 3 cities in 5 nights, no sleep. We're getting in at 2:30. We got a TNT game the next night. Like, marijuana is needed for sleep.
And
Go
can I
ahead.
say one more thing real quick? Kids, these are grown-up
Grown-ups.
conversations, and it's not for everybody. And
Right.
all of these things that Matt just said also have a downside. There are always trade-offs in life. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't use drugs. Like these are, this is, sometimes I guess it goes without saying, but maybe it doesn't. These are adult conversations where this applies to some adults.
Right, and we're also, I would like to challenge all three of
Can
you.
I hold on.
I'd like to just challenge the three of you because we keep talking about.
I need to.
I know you want to.
I need to hurt y'all. I need to hurt y'all feelings on this one reality. Max, I'm with you. You're absolutely right, particularly when it comes to alcohol. You know what the sad part about all of this is? Alcohol, by the paying customer, is more accepted as less of a taboo.
Right, and that's the point I'm trying
it's
to make right now.
unfortunate,
You
but
guys
it's
are
true, and that's the paying
discussing-
customer.
The reason for that is because of all of these opioid and alcohol companies, right? They push the narrative because they don't want extra competition, right? They don't want the extra to lose the revenue because people are smart. If people think weed is less dangerous and weed doesn't kill people, right? People who drink alcohol, they drink and drive, all that stuff. And they think weed is less harmless and it's less expensive, right? So their customers, and instead of taking pills, instead of drinking alcohol, they smoke weed. So a lot of these people, they pay the politicians, they pay the lawmakers, and they even fund some studies to demonize weed and make it seem bad or it's not as good.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Obviously, videos such as mine and other people are talking about the subject. We're starting to break that stigma about weed because, you know, weed is definitely a lot better and less chance for it to negatively affect your life than alcohol and all this other stuff, right? So limit your use to once or twice a week and start smoking more of the CBD strains of weed, and you'll find yourself being able to function and still be motivated to do all this stuff in life. But one of the things with weed is not that necessarily that it hurts you or impacts your health negatively, but the motivation aspect of it is what it influences, right? Your desire to go to the gym, your desire to make more money, your desire to be present in, you know, the life of your kids or your brother and siblings, stuff like that. But yo, God bless, much love, peace and joy, namaste. If you struggle with weed use and you want to either take a tolerance break or finally quit once and for all, then link in the description for all relevant resources. Always, if it doesn't feed you, don't moderate, and too much of any good thing is good for nothing. Deuces.